Yo, it's Marc with the Fantasy Knockout Fantasy Football Show. Today is Tuesday, September 13th. You can follow the show. We're on social media at Fantasy Knockout. Make sure to subscribe whatever platform you're listening or watching on. That's right. Let's hit that goal of 100 subscribers on YouTube. I'm excited for today's show because it's week 2's must-add players, the Waiver Wire edition. Who are we looking at this week? What's the flavor of the week for quarterback and defenses? First, how'd I do last week with my must starts? I'm going to give myself 7.5 out of 10. Yes, I'm giving myself a half for Edmonds because he only did like 8-something points. He was okay, not great. Missed on Rodgers, missed on Njoku. Sorry, guys. We'll get better at that. But I did really well on the others, and I nailed all the fades. Well, let's talk some news.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the news.
News with views. So quarterback Dak Prescott out of the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to undergo thumb surgery and is set to miss 6 to 8 weeks. We need to fade all Dallas Cowboy players. Zeke and Pollard and Lamb and Schultz. They're not going to be the same with Cooper Rush. Next, running back Najee Harris out of Pittsburgh. He injured his foot during the game. Reports say that there's a good chance he will play week 2. We might want to handcuff Najee with his backup there in Jaylen Warren. Running back Damian Williams out of Atlanta. He was forced from the first quarter of Sunday's game and is said to not have suffered any broken ribs. Patterson looks to be the top running back there for now. Wide receiver Keenan Allen out of the Los Angeles Chargers. He left mid-game with a hamstring injury. We're still kind of waiting on the MRI results. He has a game this Thursday against Kansas City, so as of now, today's recording Monday, I would find another option than to start Keenan. Running back Alvin Kamara out of the New Orleans Saints. His head coach Dennis Allen said that Alvin was battling a rib issue week 1, but thinks he's going to be fine. Hopefully this rib issue isn't something that's going to be a long-term concern. Running back Elijah Mitchell out of the San Francisco 49ers is expected to miss about 2 months after hurting his knee. I think it was his MCL he tweaked or sprained. Jeff Wilson is going to be the guy that likely steps into the running back 1 duties there. Wide receiver T. Higgins out of Cincinnati. He suffered a concussion week 1 against Pittsburgh. He's believed to be day-to-day in the concussion protocol, so now we wait. Tyler Boyd would be a good pickup there if Higgins misses any time. And then wide receiver Chris Godwin out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's going to be sidelined a few weeks with a hamstring injury. Let's look for Julio Jones or Russell Gage as a replacement for Godwin. Main event, players to add for week 2, the waiver wire. I'm going to go over some quarterbacks, tight ends, running backs, receivers, but I'm going to list them in the order I would try to pick them up. Not necessarily in order of percentage owned like I've done in the past. So let's just start with quarterbacks. Quarterback Jameis Winston out of New Orleans Saints. He's about 46% owned. I liked him, what he did. He showed he can be a solid quarterback to start. Carson Wentz out of Washington. He tore up Jacksonville pretty good. He's about 14% owned. And then Marcus Mariota out of Atlanta. He's about 9% owned. So those are 3 options there in case you're stuck with Rodgers and you're just not sure if he's going to be good or not. You can go pivot and go with one of those guys. Tight ends, Gerald Everett out of Los Angeles Chargers. He's about 28% owned. He's my top guy. I'm going to go look and try to pick up. I started Njoku last week. I'm moving on from him. I'm going to go after Everett. Robert Tonyan out of Green Bay. He's about 24% owned. Hayden Hurst out of Cincinnati. He's about 10% owned. He looked good, and maybe with Higgins out, Hurst might get a little bump. And then the darling O.J. Howard out of Houston, 1% owned. Personally, I would like to wait and see if OJ can do it again. But if you need a tight end and you're desperate, you can go get him as well. The main part of the waiver wire is running backs, guys that we all are going to spend our fab on or our number 1 priority waiver pick on. The number 1 guy, in my opinion, is Jeff Wilson out of San Francisco. He's got a clear cut, at least 2 months worth of work. Go spend some fab on him. Spend up, get him. He's going to help you win your games now, your matches now. Don't miss out on him. He's about 17% owned. Jaylen Warren out of Pittsburgh. He's about 5% owned. If you are the Najee Harris owner, I'd go handcuff him in case Najee misses any time. This one's more of a stash, but Brian Robinson out of Washington, it looks like he's going to be back sooner than later. If you have an open IR spot, he's about 45% owned. You could stash him. Jamal Williams out of Detroit. He's about 47% owned. He got the goal line work there in Detroit, so you could flex him quite a bit. And then these guys are more flyers, but let's see. Khalil Herbert out of Chicago. He had a solid game. He's about 41% owned. Kenneth Gainwell, my guy out of Philly, about 48% owned. Rashad White out of Tampa Bay, the rookie there. He's about 38% owned. He looked pretty good. And then Dontre Hilliard out of Tennessee. He's about 7% owned. They all had solid games, and I like what they could do going forward. All right, some wide receivers to look at. We're going to go after Jarvis Landry of the New Orleans Saints. He's about 42% owned. He's my top wide receiver to go pick up. Joshua Palmer out of the Los Angeles Chargers. He's about 21% owned. If Allen misses any time, Palmer's going to be the next man up there. Jahan Dotson, the rookie out of Washington. He looked fantastic. 2 touchdowns with Wentz. 24% owned. DJ Chark out of Detroit. He's about 40% owned. You could pick him up. Garrett Wilson out of the Jets. He looked good. He's 21% owned. Curtis Samuel, another solid matchup this week. Washington is where Samuel's at. He's about 6% owned. He had a good matchup or a good game. McCole Hardman out of Kansas City. He looks to have done well there. 30% owned. Devin Duvernay out of Baltimore. He's 31% owned. Sterling Shepard out of the Giants. He's 1% owned. And then Tyler Boyd out of Cincinnati. He's about 56% owned. Go ahead and pick up some of those guys if you need help in the receiver spot. Streaming quarterbacks, Carson Wentz out of Washington. He's got Detroit 14% owned. He had a great start for week 1 with his 4 touchdowns. Let's see if he can continue that against Detroit this week. Matt Ryan out of Indy. He's at Jacksonville. He's 43% owned. He was okay last week, but if Carson carved him up, let's see what Ryan can do. And then some streaming defenses I like. Cleveland Browns, they have the New York Jets. They sacked Baker 4 times, picked him off once. They forced 4 fumbles. Unfortunately, Carolina recovered all 4 of those. The next 3 quarterbacks they face is Joe Flacco, Mitch Trubisky, and Marcus Mariota. So that's the Jets, the Steelers, and Atlanta. I like the Browns going forward. Speaking of the Steelers face New England this week. Yes, the Steelers lost TJ Watt for now, but they have a really nice schedule the next 3 weeks in New England, Cleveland, and the Jets. And then the other team is the Cincinnati Bengals. They're at Dallas. Yes, we're going to prey on Dallas right now. They got the Cowboys without Prescott. I think it's Cooper Rush as the quarterback there. He will probably turn the ball over. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today. The next show we have is the Week 2 must-start players. Thank you for listening. Make sure to subscribe whatever platform you are on, and please leave a rating and review. It really helps me out. All right, till next time, see ya!